How did the United States media use a Mexican tennis player as a part of their plan in defeating communism? This story uses primary news reports to establish how Ricardo Alonzo Pancho González was portrayed in the media as a symbol of the greatness of American democracy in the 1950s. González was initially treated poorly as a Mexican American in the tennis world, but all that started to change when Cold War hysteria reached new levels in the United States. González was born on May 9, 1928. He was born in Los Angeles and son to immigrant parents from Chihuahua, Mexico. He rose to fame by winning the 1948 National Tennis Championship. U.S. media reporting of González marked him as a perpetual foreigner and cultural other, even though he was born and raised in the United States. As Alamillo notes in his article about González and print media in post-war America, this perpetration of González being a foreigner is most prevalent in the 1940s news reportings of him. While in the 1950s, Alamillo notes, U.S. news media began to report and display him as a true American that accomplished the American dream. So why was González now being treated as a true American when years beforehand he was treated as a foreigner by United States media? What caused this transition in treatment of González in U.S. print media? The answer was communism. Alamillo notes that communist countries began to criticize the United States for its poor record of race relations. To counter those claims, Alamillo notes a Los Angeles sports columnist used González's victory in the tennis world as a way to manipulate foreign perceptions of U.S. race relations. The LA sports columnist writes, González is 21, the son of Mexican-American family. Similar to so many in this community, he had no advantages above those granted any other youngsters in this region, but he made the most of what was available. González scored a great victory, and in doing so, marked a victory as well for the American way of life. The primary sources of a newspaper from the Tucson Daily Citizen and the program for Jack Kramer's World Championship Tennis Tour serve as evidence to show how U.S. media attempted to anglicize and redefine González. The program depicts González with more Eurocentric features to appeal to tennis audiences around the world. As González rose in the ranks and became one of the most formidable players in tennis, he can no longer be ignored. Therefore, instead of displaying a Mexican American, the program whitewashes González. Most notably, the whitewash can be seen in the form of having his hair blonde. The newspaper source uses González's victory in the tennis world as proof that the United States is not a place of segregation or inequality that disproportionately affects people of color. These primary sources reveal that U.S. print media needed a figure to represent U.S. race relations. They used González during the Cold War to counter the narrative of the United States' poor record of race relations. Broader historical context is needed to derive understanding from primary sources. Primary sources serve a purpose, even if they may not accurately depict a figure or an event in history. They still serve a purpose. For those sources that intentionally lack clarity or misrepresents the facts, they still have value as they allow us to get an understanding of how the world was and how they wanted to project it. Their value comes from us analyzing how and why they portrayed certain figures and events the way they did and what interests they served.